What's up, guys? I'm Luke Soin. We're making a movie. This is Vin Chandra. Is it Chandra?
Chandra. It's yes.
Whatever I want it to
It's
be.
whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
It's whatever it feels like being today.
Hell
So
yeah,
I shouldn't
dude.
say that. That's how we get canceled.
It's your name. You can say it.
Yeah.
We get canceled if I start doing your accent.
Chandra.
I'm the director, writer, editor, actor. He's
DP. Director of photography.
double.
Yes, exactly. Whatever works to get the job done, right?
Yeah. Double coverage. Coverage. So if you've been following along, we made a trailer, we wrote a script, we got a third draft, and we're creating a lookbook or a pitch deck, as it were, whatever that's called. Now we're just making videos to help you follow us on the journey, because if you don't know, then what's the point?
Affirmative.
We've been reflecting in our time making the trailer, which was our proof of concept to see what we could do. And literally on a minuscule budget, we're really proud of the work we did, considering the complexity of some of the stuff that we did. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite shot, the car scene, the car stunts.
Damn it, Luke!
The issue that we had with the car scene was how were we going to pull it off, you know? So as a independent filmmaker, as a no budget filmmaker at this point, is how do you make scenes look real? Luke and I came up with the solution, which was do it for real. This is going to be one of those pieces of advice that you shouldn't take, because sometimes if you, let's say, oh, I want to blow up a building, should I go do that for real? No, don't do that for real. We're not telling you to do that. We don't want to get canceled. We want to make the film canceled.
Yeah, everything we're telling you is like, don't do this at home. Do it on road. No, but also don't do it at all. But this is what we did.
So our first job was trying to figure out how we're going to shoot the interior car scenes. We got a hold of a car rig, which is kind of ubiquitous now. Anybody can get a hold of one of those.
And also, I want to point out, we got this car rig, and apparently there was a plate. Because that's one thing we messed up. We never figured this out, is when you put it on the side of the car, you're supposed to do like almost like a drive-in tray. You know,
Like a waiter's tray.
like a waiter's tray that like hangs off the side of the window, and then you put the camera on that, and it's got like like a tripod type of situation, so it's more stable. But what we did is we took the tripods and we kind of just magneted it to the car, and it was just sort of like on this plane, like, so it was on the side, but it could wiggle back and forth. It turned out all right, but we learned later that there was a plate there the whole time that we just never used, right?
No one really gave us instructions on how to use it. And I'm one of those people that I hate researching stuff. I just kind of like look at it and be like, oh, we'll figure it out on the fly. And the funny part was, as Luke was saying, we had a lot of sway on the rig itself. So we obviously cable strapped it down, and then I just took one of my camera bags and just stuffed it in between the legs of the makeshift tripod, and that kind of helped the bounce, and it kept the paint from scratching. So improvisation is kind of the biggest. So that shot, the interior shots of Luke and Ellis as they're driving, those were great because we had the cameras mounted to the side of the door. Part of the issue was like, how do we make it look like it's inside the car? So
inside the car, there's not enough room to put the camera in the window. So yeah, we had to roll the windows down and film basically the camera's like outside the car, like filming in with like road noise. But we had such a good sound guy, Craig Vincent, that he captured great audio even though the windows were down. And then I think we ran the sound through the Adobe like sound AI thing. So if you subscribe to Adobe, you can use this amazing tool, and you can put your audio file into it and it'll fix it for you. You can adjust the amount of fixing it's doing. It fixed the audio and made it super clear, so me and Ellis sound like we're just in the car, and the road noise is normal.
Definitely not going to get into.
Wait.
We also were lucky it wasn't like a particularly windy day or rainy day or whatever else. But that, it's like funny because you see a movie and you go like, they're just in the car filming it. Like you don't know, and then you go to film something and you're like, oh, so they must have done this crazy other thing.
And I mean, that's the funny part, because most times they do interior car scenes, they either do it in studio or they'll have the trailer that they put the car on, and then they put the cameras around, and we did this guerrilla style. And no, but yeah, we shot this on the road. We used my car and we used both our cars.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we both have black SUVs. So a note to self: never use two identical SUVs or very close looking SUVs. You could get confused at which one was which.
I don't see color.
Yeah.
We should talk about the testing, because we spent like 2 days. I went to Vin's house. We're driving to our cinematographer's house, Vin Chandra. So we did the side test to see what that looked like and how that felt. And then we did the hood test. So I think it was 2 different days we did that, right? Like each one. I recorded with my phone inside the car. We also had the video from the camera, like we used the Blackmagic. Was it the 6K?
It was a Pocket 4K. Part of the thing is initially we'd use the reds, my red Scarlett W for the scene at Oliver's, which we'll talk about
in another video.
I just don't like complexity of cameras. The less I have to worry about a camera, the better. But anyway, we're shooting a car scene. We're mounting stuff to the hood of the car. I do not want to drop a $30,000 camera,
Drop a $4,000 camera. How much is that?
The Pocket 4K was $1,500. We tested it with a $1,500 camera. If we drop that, it's painful, but not as painful. So
we were also pretty careful. Like it was pretty strapped on there, and it was like it's got 3 solid magnets on the feet.
Yeah, the suction cups that go in, and they hold pretty sturdy. But it had been my first time using suction cups on the outside.
It wasn't magnets, was it?
Yeah, it was suction cups.
We had to like wipe the car
down.
down.
So you had to wipe you have to wipe.
Insider trick. Don't just put it on a dusty car. That will not be good for you. So we set them up. We did both, and we did like tests. Like we drove down Vin's Street like 100 times back and forth trying to check and see what it looked like, right? I think we did it more with the front, the hood mount. We drove back and forth a lot more because we had to try different polarizing.
Yeah, so we get reflections obviously on the windshield, and so use a polarizing filter, and at certain angles, we were noticing at certain angles, obviously, you drive towards the sun, you're going to get the reflection of the sun. If I recall, you have to drive on a right angle towards the sun. Obviously, you don't want all those issues, so you get a polarizing filter and stacked on top of an ND, which is what we had. That was kind of cool because the polarizer did cut down the amount of glare on the windshield, but it also made, if you look at the shot that we had on the trailer, you can see the reflection of the trees, which definitely gives the illusion that we were there, and that's part
the
of
illusion of the reality.
The illusion of the reality, yes, because most of the times you'd have to have a screen that's reflecting something, but that was a real deal. We were there. It made the world felt real to at least in that shot.
Which to me is like one of the things I want to try to do is make things as real. Like I think going to a place in Hollywood, they use this thing called the volume a lot now, where they set up like a little bit of a set in the middle of this giant video wall that goes around the set, and they have this whole complex system of like the video wall plays like a rendered environment in Unreal Engine, so it's kind of like a video game that looks really, really nice. And as the cameras move, it shifts perspective so that it makes sense. And when you're watching the movie or the show, you don't know that they're in this fake environment. But also, you can kind of tell sometimes there's like a flat look to it. Like if you watch Mandalorian Season 3, atrocious volume use. So for us, it's like obviously we don't have access to that, but it's also very cool to go somewhere and be in that environment. I think that's what makes the trailer so cool is we open with this beautiful shot that you set up where it's like you see the majesty of the trees, right? Like it's just beautiful. And we even did a sky replacement. You can't really tell because it was a little bit cloudy that day.
Yeah, it was cloudy. The sky was white, so Da Vinci has some cool tools where you can just add a little bit of sky back.
It took you like 10, 15 minutes, and it was like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that was cool. I mean, that was the first time. Like it was the first time utilizing that tool for me.
All of this stuff too that we're doing, it's like we don't know how we're gonna finish it or get it. We just figure it out. That's like the fun. It's like we're talking about the car mount. Part of the fun of filmmaking to me is having this like, how do we do this? And then problem solving it and like jerry rigging something, and it's like tied off with knots and like who knows if it's even a knot,
Yeah, exactly.
It's wrapped up enough that
you tie it so tight you have to actually use scissors to cut or a knife to just cut the...
Yeah, or use a bunch of gaffer tape or some it's
a lot of experimentation. I remember like, for example, on the hood scene where we got the camera mounted to the hood, obviously Luke and Ellis were too dark for exposure, so the natural inclination is obviously to light the interior, and so what I did, I felt the easiest way to do that. Let me just preface this by saying I don't care if it looks lit, and I mean this is something that Luke and I get into arguments with about all the time.
Yeah.
I don't care if it looks lit as long as people don't notice it in the sense of filmmakers notice if it's lit. Audience will not, and if they're noticing that, you've already lost them. Like normally when the audience member, and this is kind of like, I'm going to defend Michael Bay here because Michael Bay does this. Michael Bay makes everything look lit and hyper, ultra real or ultra editorial. There's always a hair light that came out of nowhere. Like where's that hair light coming from?
I don't mind what you're saying if it doesn't take you out of the movie and if it's consistent and that's what the movie looks like. Because you can go for like this supernatural, like I feel feel like A24 has, and I'm kind of tired of this look now, so I don't want to do that. This like really high dynamic range. You don't even get like true blacks or white. It's like there's just gray, like different gray.
There's low contrast. These are low contrast.
Low contrast, and it's like it does look natural, but it's also kind of like, I don't know, I'm just tired of seeing it. So I actually I like hair lights and I like shaping and all this stuff and contrast, and I've been watching a lot of movies that I want to emulate for this film, and so I don't know, we'll figure out the look.
But I think like what I was trying to get at with that was that, you know, I mean, we took a light mat instead of like a light bar and just taped it above Luke and Ellis in the car. That just lifts the exposure. Yeah, we see their face.
I never disagreed with that, did
Right.
I?
No,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, you know,
pretty sure I was down for that.
Off.
Yep.
On. Off. On.
A lot of cinematographers, they'll be like, it looks too sourcey. I don't care. I don't give two shits if it looks sourcey or not. If you can see the face, if you see the exposure, and it doesn't take you out of the story, no one's gonna care. And I mean, I think
you have to lift the ambient light sometimes. It's like right now we have the windows open in my room here. We have a big ass light right here that's lighting us because there's no window over here. This would look shitty. Like, look at this. Now you can't see us. This is stupid. So we have to fill, you know, with a key light, and now we look good, you know? We didn't do a hair light. We were kind of lazy. We just put up one light, and then we got some stuff from the windows, but...
So, the stunt.
How many times did we drive back and forth
I think we did about 10 takes. But what we did was, first of all, we try to travel at a speed that looks fast, but is not fast. And at the same time, I thought the only way to get this to work was if we shoot with long lenses to compress the distance between the two cars. So especially in the shots from behind it, I'm using 100 millimeters to really compress the amount of space in between them. If I remember correctly, the distance is about 3 car length difference. Enough space to both cars to swerve in and out.
I was in the car every time, and I never felt unsafe. Ellis was driving, I was in the passenger seat, and then the other guy was driving Vin's car, and it was like, yeah, we were doing this kind of sketchy thing, but I never once felt like we were gonna hit each other. But the effect you get at the end of the day with the shot is it looks really good. Like, I've shown the trailer to a bunch of people, they're like, how did you do that? And we're like, movie magic.
Then we got the back shots, and from the back, I basically put a 50 millimeter on the camera.
You were like in the trunk area.
I was lying in the trunk, so I think there's a BTS photo of me lying in the trunk.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a 50 millimeter lens on the camera. That compresses the distance even more. So when you see the other car coming and then the swerve happening, and you see it from Luke and Ellis's perspective, it seems a lot closer than it is. But it just needs to be a different color car. It can't be 2 black cars. Or whatever color we get, make sure they're contrasting colors so we know visually what happens. And that's things you learn on the way, right? You know, all we had was 2 black SUVs. You know, we didn't have stunt cars.
Anything else about this shot we should talk about?
Sparkling water. Sorry, I had to clear the throat a little bit.
Brought to you by Target. Vin likes this joke.
Yes, I love that.
Brought to you by Charles Barkley.
Oh, hell no.
Financial services.
It tastes good. Just put that white sauce on it.
So, you know, in order to just wrap up everything, but part of it, you know, like, so I like to, you know, simple things is, for car rigs, make sure they're strapped down, obviously.
Safety first.
Safety first. Whenever possible, use longer lenses to give the illusion of cars being closer than they are, especially on exterior scenes and even with the interior scenes. That's what I found in terms of problem solving. Polarizers are gonna be your best friend. Light mats or light bars. I think light mats are easier because you can just Velcro or just gaff tape them up and they're
Yeah, they sell super light. They're like fabric-y and they just have LED lights in them, and you can just put it in the roof of the car and it gives beautiful ambient light that feels natural.
Yep. Oh, totally. Yeah.
But it looks natural.
And I have the Soonwells. I forget which number, but Soonwell's a great brand. Amaran's got a good brand now. I mean, Amaran's got a good one.
You don't need that Falconize anymore. I don't know. That was expensive, right? I remember that was one. Yeah.
And use cameras that you're not gonna like. Sure, I'll be hurt if I lost a camera, but
don't use your A+ camera. Yeah.
Don't use your red or don't use your. I mean, this is why they have crash cams. This is why Blackmagics are used for crash cams on other sets, even the.
Or why they invented the Komodo. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
you know, these are cameras that have beautiful cinematic images that can punch almost as hard as the big cameras, but still have a small form factor and are really cheap. So sometimes don't be scared to do something and
take chances.
Take chances because movies are a gamble.
Yeah.
And you know, they may be successful, they may not, but the fact that you're going out there and making it and trying to make it, I think is what's important.
Yeah. So get out there and filmmaker it, dude. Do it. Come on. you know.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for today. This is Vin, I'm Luke, and we'll have more videos soon. Follow our journey, follow our Instagram, our YouTube, and follow our film journey as we make our film and film. You know, we're gonna do, this movie's gonna happen one way or another. See you guys later, bye.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's good.